It's an amazing fact that more than 80% of people believe in some sort of afterlife. But how many people here tonight believe in ghosts? How many people? OK, so quite a few, about 80%. There's nowhere in the world where people don't believe in ghosts and spirits. In fact, it's one of the few beliefs that binds the entire human race together. Of course, there are many people who think that it's all a load of rubbish, that ghosts are just a figment of the imagination. So, do you believe or not? Or maybe you haven't decided yet. We wanted to do a Ouija board here tonight in the studio, but we've been banned from doing so by the TV authorities because they think that it could be dangerous. There is another way, apparently, to contact the dead, because according to some of the psychics here tonight, we're actually about to talk with ghosts, because there are some ghosts amongst us in the studio right now. Meet Patrine Soanes. She says that she can see ghosts and speak to them. Would you like to step up here, please? Patrine Soanes. OK, so you look about right now. Can you see any ghosts, Patrine?
OK, we've got an awful lot of noise in here. As I say, we've got there's a dog kind of going backwards and forwards kind of up this aisle. There's actually a whole group of people standing further back behind the people that are actually standing here.
So you mean psychic noise by this?
Yeah, absolutely. It isn't as if everybody's here seems to have somebody standing with them. Most of the people that are here tonight are a lot older. They're not personally related. This isn't mother, fathers, cousins. It isn't this kind of stuff.
So, how would you describe a ghost?
There's two ways that I would describe a ghost. One, it's almost like leaving a footprint behind in time, a whole collection of imprints. That's on the one level. On another level, it's like there actually is no such thing as time. So it's almost like people that have so-called passed on can be here at the same time as us right now.
OK, we'll come back to you again later, Patrine. Right now, though, I want to talk to author and physicist David Peat. David, so why do you think people want to believe in ghosts?
I think they want to believe in ghosts because somehow the world has gone very dark for people. I think a lot of the magic has gone out of people's lives. They do want mystery, they do want magic in their lives. They work and they look for it outside themselves, not inside, which I think that's really where the magic lies.
Thank you, Dr. Peat. Some people believe that if ghosts are unhappy or tormented, they need help. Apparently, it's because they're trapped in the wrong dimension in a sort of halfway house between our world and theirs. The result is a haunted house, and that's when you call in the remarkable Eddie Burks. This Tudor inn at Oxted in Surrey has been haunted for hundreds of years. It's Eddie Burks' first visit, and he doesn't know what he'll find. But all who live here have a ghost story to tell. The current landlord is Alan Percival.
Well, it was about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Myself and two members of staff were sitting around the table just over there, and the glass sort of flew off the shelf here and landed right down over here by the bottom of the stool.
Didn't hurt anybody?
Didn't hurt anyone.
No.
It landed with quite a sort of thump. Didn't break.
No.
But what was unusual was the actual trajectory of the glass, how it managed to fall from there
up. Yes.
and land there.
How old is this place, Alan?
The original building is Tudor, so that's about 400, 16th century, 400 years old. But the main part of the building is sort of Georgian time. There's the dog.
Hello. Getting quite a strong reaction in here, Alan. I think whoever is troubling this place has a pretty free range of movement throughout the place.
It was about a year ago.
And it happened outside.
And Malia was walking along the hallway, talking to me, but I couldn't see her. She got to the doorway and stopped. And she said, "Mummy, someone's trying to get in the door." Can you explain what happened? What was the door handle doing?
Well, the door handle was going up, down, like up, down. So I looked in the cat flap and there was nothing there.
There's a feeling of distress building up. She's going back into the memory of her death, and it seems to be associated with this area more than the area upstairs. And I can feel the distress building up. I'm increasingly picking up her distress at the recovering her memory. I'm seeing someone collapsed on the floor down here. I think it must be her. The body on the floor. I think she committed suicide and hung herself somewhere in this area, close to where we are now. And she sees her body. She says, the shame, the shame. I think she was pregnant. Out of wedlock, hence the shame. She was filled with remorse afterwards. And as a suicide, she would have been trapped for a time anyway. But I think it went on because she could not forgive herself. There were, after all, two of us, you see, not just me. There were two of us. And I killed the little one too. At this point, one has to simply wait for someone to come to take her away. It will be someone she loves, or did love, someone that loved her. I'm beginning to get an impression of her father. I think he's coming for her. He's waiting for her to step into the light. She moves towards him and they embrace. And there are tears of joy. And she's gone. She'll be all right.
So much what you're saying has been, you know, the local sort of rumour always was that she committed suicide. It was always said that she was found hanging from one of the beams, one of the rafters, and that she had either murdered a child or had a child out of wedlock. That was what people used to say. Incredible. And now she's gone.
Yes. Well, thank you very much, Alan.
Oh, thank you.
Kind of you to show me around. And we've let someone else out of prison, haven't we? Because that's what it really means.
Remarkable story. Alan, is the pub different since Eddie came and did some work there?
Well, I was never convinced about the ghost all along, but I must admit, since Eddie's visit, things have strangely been quieter. No glasses moving or that feeling of being watched anymore.
So when you say you weren't convinced, what do you think it might have been before that, then?
Well, I wasn't really sure. I suppose things moving could be explained scientifically, but we never really knew.
You were telling me something interesting earlier about the name as well. What was that?
Well, while Eddie was talking to the ghost, he said that the name of the ghost was Emmy, short for Emily. Now, we'd always called the ghost Annie because that had been the name that she'd always been called all the way along. But about 3 years previous, there was a sort of living barmaid that stayed in the pub. She was convinced the pub was haunted. And one day she just sort of out of the blue said, "Why do we call the ghost Annie? Because I'm getting Emily." It was strange that her and Eddie, totally unconnected people, should come up with the same name.
Okay. Right, Eddie, I want to have a quick chat with you as well. How long have you been doing this for?
Since 1982.
It seems to take a lot out of you when you're actually doing this work. What's taking place? Are you seeing images? Are you sensing what the ghosts sense? Are you feeling their pain?
Well, as in that film, I very often get the sense of distress, if there is an element of distress there. And then after a while, the feelings become very more explicit. And then I begin to see the ghost. And in conversation with them, I find out how they died and what it is that's trapping them.
Okay, thank you, Eddie. Some say people believe that when great creative talents die, they find someone suitable so that they can channel their abilities back into the world. In other words, a living person acts as an interface between the spirit of the dead artist and the physical world. On the northeast coast of Brazil, at Sao Paulo, there's a psychologist who's become something of a celebrity. His name is Gasparetto, and he says that great artists from the past take over his body and paint new canvases. So we flew there to investigate this astounding claim. Within seconds, he's in a trance. Within 4 minutes, he'll finish the first drawing. Over the years, he says dozens of great artists from the past have used his body to create thousands of new works of art. He insists this pastel is genuinely the work of Tissot, who died in 1902 after a scandalous affair with a divorcee. Hardly a pause and he starts the next one. The routine is always the same, with his assistant close by in case a spirit gets out of hand. Modigliani, the long-dead Italian painter, still has a filthy temper, apparently. An accidental collision with the camera sends him into a simmering rage. Modigliani storms off to make way for someone else, and the music thunders on. Gasparetto says the music is an essential element in this paranormal phenomenon. According to Gasparetto, Vincent van Gogh is now firmly in possession of his body. In a fit of depression, Van Gogh mutilated one of his ears before finally committing suicide in 1890. Gasparetto reports that these days, Van Gogh is a much calmer and happier man. So who's next in the ghostly queue, waiting to take over Gasparetto's body? During his life, Manet was one of the leading French Impressionists. He died in 1832. His paintings now sell for millions. Philip Hook is with us from Sotheby's. He's an art expert. Philip, do you believe in ghosts?
I don't exclude the possibility.
Do you believe in Gasparetto? Do you think that this is genuinely a Van Gogh?
Well, I honestly think, looking at this, that Gasparetto must be in touch with the wrong Van Gogh.
Let's imagine for a moment he genuinely is bringing the energy of Van Gogh through from another dimension. Then surely it wouldn't translate totally. It would be reminiscent of Van Gogh, but it wouldn't be exact. Is there anything else that tells you that that's definitely not the case?
Well, I think the signature is quite significant too. I mean, he has managed to get it right to the extent that Van Gogh never signed anything except his Christian name. So you've got Vincent right there, but really the handwriting is not Van Gogh's. It's, I think, really Gasparetto's.
Do you think he is? Do you think Gasparetto's a fake then?
I think that the pictures he paints probably are fakes, yes.
So how much would you say one of these is worth then?
Well, I mean, it's very disappointing, isn't it? Because if this were genuine, we'd be talking about a £20 million picture.
Right.
As it is, well, if it came up at Sotheby's, I suppose the frame's worth about £80.
Okay. And finally, would you hang one of these in your house?
I'd be very embarrassed to do so, I have to say.
Okay. Philip Hook, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Che bella cosa un'aiunate sola, n'aria
Leo May is not a professional singer. One day, out of the blue, he started singing like this, which he says is not his voice at all. It's the voice of Enrico Caruso, the great Italian tenor who died in 1921. Leo says that when he opens his mouth to sing, he's simply acting as a channel for one of the century's greatest operatic tenors, because through him, Caruso is still very much with us. Thank you for coming tonight. Leo, you used to be a jeweler. Suddenly you started singing like this. What happened? Did you take any singing lessons?
Yes, I had some singing lessons, but it doesn't happen like that. You have to work hard at anything in life, really. But I had an Italian professor I studied with for only a few years, and he went to America, and then I was singing in a little concert, and somebody in the audience was a clairvoyant, which I didn't know about, and they came up to me after and said, "Do you realise that Enrico Caruso is singing with you when you perform?"
When you were told that, what did you think?
Well, I knew something was happening to me because I have felt, when I used to go down to the studios and practice, and I used to come back and say, something's happening, I'm getting top notes and I can't feel anything. You know, it's just as if I'm just opening my mouth and this voice is coming out.
Is Caruso with you now?
Yes.
how does he appear? Do you see an image of him? Do you hear him?
No, clear audibly, I hear him.
And what sort of things does he say to you?
Well, he tells me off sometimes.
He
says, you've got to work harder, you've got to do this, do it like this, and he'll come on and say...
Does he ever offer you any other sort of advice? Does he say, you know, don't go out today because you might get run over or something like that?
No, not at all, not at all.
It's just to do with the singing?
Just to do with the singing. He's a wonderful man when he was alive, evidently, you know, and a jester. And he jests quite a lot with me sometimes.
So some people would say this is very weird. What would you say to them?
Well, it's natural. I mean, it's just a connection of two different worlds, and the more people understand that, perhaps the better world it's going to be.
OK, let's see how close to the original Caruso your voice is. All right. OK, do you think you can emulate that piece for us? OK, there is a more scientific way, though, to prove whether Leo's voice and Caruso's voice are the same. These are spectrograms of Caruso's voice and Leo's voice. They're like a fingerprint or a signature of the voice, so even if an impersonator's voice sounded similar, it wouldn't necessarily look the same through a spectrogram. As you can see, there is a remarkable similarity. We're told by the experts the only reason there's a difference is because Caruso had a rigid training regime, which Leo, of course, doesn't because he's not a professional singer. But if he did train in the way that Caruso did every day, they would be almost identical. OK, I'd like to find out what our audience think. Who'd like to contribute at this point? Yes, what about you, sir? Can I come to you?
Whether it's his voice or Caruso's voice or a mixture of two or something, I think there's definitely some force or some spirit that gives people the talent to do this. What it is, I'm not quite sure.
Yes, madam.
If this guy's supposed to be speaking through you or singing through you, then surely he wouldn't have to give you training in your voice and tell you how to train and to train harder.
What would you say to that?
I've had training.
Yes.
There's no question about that. I've had training.
Well, yes, madam. What would you like to say?
I just want to say that ghosts and spirits are just people without bodies, but they're there. And it's just that they haven't got the physical body.
Have you seen ghosts?
Yes, yes.
Where have you seen a ghost?
In my house.
OK. Robin Lawrence, you are a ghost investigator. We've been banned tonight from doing a Ouija board. Somebody or a group of people consider it dangerous enough or potentially dangerous enough to stop us from doing it here in the studio. Do you think they're right to do that?
Yes, yes I do.
Why is that?
Because Ouija boards are going into something different, I think. Ghosts and spirits, I think, are two different things.
So what are we inviting in if we were to do such a thing?
Who knows? You could invite anything in.
So it'd just be like opening the doors to your house. Anybody could wander in, somebody good or somebody bad.
I would think so.
Thank you. OK. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to say a big thank you to Leo May. Thank you, Leo. Well, I think you'll agree we've seen some interesting things this evening. Obviously, it's up to you to judge for yourself, but if you do hear any strange noises in the night, it's probably nothing. Well, at least nothing from this world. Have a good night.